Hello everyone. So we're gonna start with our first tutorial of a Grasshopper today. So let me open. So I'm sharing with you my screen, and you can see Rhino 7 open here. Sorry, I'm trying to hide something. Yeah. Okay, so you can see Rhino 7 is open. And we spoke about Rhino extensively last term and a bit this term in the first session. And today we're going to speak about Grasshopper. So just going back to Rhino. So we mentioned that we use curves and NURBS in Rhino mainly, and it's very accurate software, hence it's very popular to use. So Grasshopper is a plugin which is inside Rhino, and it's basically a visual scripting tool that is so previously, before Grasshopper, each software had its own scripting tool, but you had to be familiar with scripting programs and languages, and there was like Mel for Maya and VB script for Rhino, and there was one for AutoCAD. I think it was called LISP. So you need to be like really into scripting to know that. So Grasshopper was revolutionary in terms of you really don't need to master the programming language, but you need to understand the logic behind it. So it's based on algorithmic modeling. So as long as you understand that, you will be fine using Grasshopper. So as I said, the Grasshopper is it is a visual, if you want to say, visual scripting application, but it is based on algorithmic logic. It does not require scripting writing, but it's a visual editor that allows you to develop a script without any programming knowledge, basically, and just by the use of graphical methods based on some kind of component and nodes interference, based on components interface, not interference, sorry. So I will show you that in a bit. And as I said, Rhino is a very accurate program, and Grasshopper, therefore, it is as well. So it offers a new way to define shapes by the use of algorithmic modeling. So algorithmic modeling needs a logical and mathematical approach. So it might need a longer learning curve. So you need to understand just the basic mathematics of geometry, and you're gonna be fine. There are a few websites that I will and resources that I'm gonna share with you. I think there are some also already on the syllabus. So since we are talking about algorithmic modeling, I'm just gonna mention one idea before I start talking about the interface. And it is that an algorithm, you need to have input information, and then you need to have instruction and then output information. That's the logic of algorithm. That's how it works. So you have a problem, you're trying to solve it. To solve this problem, you give the program inputs, which is the information you have. You tell the program how to use it through the instructions, and then you will have your desired output. Sometimes we don't know what output we are looking for, and that's where scripting is very beneficial. That is a bottom-up kind of process. It's not, the designer doesn't come with a final image in mind, but they come with a concept of a process, and that's where Grasshopper is important and vital. So remember, you need these three things. This is the process: input, instruction, and then output. Okay. So let's talk about the interface. of a Grasshopper. So it's very simple, as you can see here. And it's when you first open it, you'll have like the small instruction here. So this is called canvas. So either drag a new component into the canvas, double click the canvas to create a new component, or open an existing document via the menu or the tiles. So what I'm gonna say, this is called canvas, and it's really big. It's really, you can, it can go on forever. It's like, just consider it as an endless paper or canvas. When you are new to Grasshopper, Grasshopper offers you those 7 tutorials. I would recommend you going through them. The other thing about the interface, you have those here, which are called which are the commands that we are gonna use basically, and they are called components panel. And in this component panels, you have 12 categories on the top, so you can see them. So you can see, you should have also 12 ones. You should have V-Ray here. I wonder why I don't have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. My other computer, I have V-Ray as well, which is a 12. So I think it has to do with this computer because I don't have enough graphic memory or something. Anyway, so you'll have 12 categories. Now each category you press on it, you will have commands, and they are grouped, so it will make it easier for you to look for information. So everything to have to do about the curve, anything to do about the surface, anything to do about vector or points, you can see here. Parameters, so the geometry basically here. The other thing, so you can, for example, if I want a curve, you can hover also over it. It will give you the name. So curve contains a collection of generic curves. So I'm just gonna press here. So I'm just clicking with the right click of the mouse. Then I'm gonna delete it for now. Or I can double click here and type curve, and the same result. I have everything that has to do with curve, but I want this one, for example. So when you have this kind of icons that doesn't look like a battery, that means the information will be imported from Rhino. So if I make this smaller, okay, and I choose this curve, for example, close, so let's say this curve, and then I say, and then I right click on this component, and then I will have set one curve or set multiple curves. So I have this option. So I can say set one curve, okay? And you can see how the color changed. That means this is Rhino telling you that this object has been selected in a Grasshopper, okay? And then, so you can, so if you don't choose it in a Grasshopper, it's not chosen here, but when you click on the icon, it will be highlighted here. Okay, so there's this connection between Rhino and Grasshopper. I'm gonna delete this for now. Of course, I'm still having that the curve in Rhino. Okay, so we're gonna speak about point and then line and then curve, and we're gonna just start working on it. A few things before we start. I want you to notice those small arrows here, okay, that will bring everything inside here out basically, and you can check. So there's even more commands than what you can see here on the outside. Okay, just want to check that I am recording, as it is my first session. Is that recording? I don't think it's recording. Oh, it is recording. Okay. Sorry about this. Okay. So it is recording. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna continue because I don't want to repeat. Sorry about this. Okay. So as I said, here you have those. What else I want to tell you about the Canva? Notice this icon here. Like just try to play with the options you have here. So right now we don't have much work. I will show you this in a bit when we have more work. So this is a way to control the Canva, especially if you have a big script. Okay, so we're gonna start, as I said, with creating a line from points. So remember in Rhino source, last time I used always to say any line you want to create is between 2 points, okay? So let's create a point. So this is the easiest thing to start. Let's say this is my point. I type here point. I have the icon. I right click on it. And then I say set one point. And then the Grasshopper window disappear. So it allows me to choose from the Rhino. I choose it. I choose the point. The Grasshopper window reappear. Notice it's unnamed, so I haven't saved yet, which is not good. I'll save it in 1 minute. But notice what happened to the point. Now it's highlighted in green. So Rhino is telling me this is a point that exists in Grasshopper. Okay. Now I don't want to choose a point from Rhino. I want Grasshopper to create that point for me, and then I want to do something what we call bake it. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go to the vector. I'm gonna go to the point. See, I have a section for the point, and I'm gonna choose something called construct point. Okay. Now, if I don't want to do all this, I just can type point. Should give me construct point. It doesn't. So I'm gonna type construct point. Yeah, I can see it there. Okay. So notice this icon. It looks like a battery. So when you hover over any icon, any component, information will come up. So this component run once, construct a point from XYZ coordination. So it's giving you instruction. But let's say I have my 2 points. So I'm going to say point. Sorry, not here. Wait a second. I want to change the name here. So right click on it, sorry. And then here I'm going to say point A, for example. And then what I'm going to do is choose another one. Construct point. And then I'm going to right click on the icon, change the name to point 2. Oh, sorry, B. Okay, 1 on 2. So here we need X and Y. Okay, so we need to give, so if you zoom in here and you right click on the X, you have all the information that has to do with the X value. Okay, so any point is defined where the X, Y, and Z. Okay, because we are in a 3D space. So all the information we need here, we have set up for different wire display, but what I'm looking at is giving the X a number. So we can even set a number here. Can set also multiple number. This is a bit more complicated. We're going to talk about it later stage. Let's say we want to set a number, but let's say we want to change that number also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just write a number here. So I double clicked, write a number, something called number slider showed up. I'm going to zoom out a bit. Okay. And I'm going to connect that. So when you go to the one end of it. So you see there's connection here. So you just click with the right button of the mouse and it goes there. You can see the name changed automatically. It's the X coordinate. And now you can change this point, okay? So I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna say 8, gonna connect it. Can see now how it's changing. And then let's say 15. So you can see this is the point, okay? So all the points, when you create them, they will be in the 0, 0, 0. So this is the initial point. This is the initial coordinate, basically. And then when you give different values, so what is nice about this, okay, is, let me show you, if you change this, and you can also change the range of the slider. So if you right click on the slider and you say edit, this will show up, and the maximum range and the minimum range are here. Can change them. So let's say I want to change this. So you need to double click on it to 20, for example. So they can have the same range, different range. You decide this kind of input. Okay. Now we're going to do the same for the second icon. So I'm going to just put some sliders. And then I'm going to connect, and you're going to notice how the names are changing. Now, because I want to do a line, just going to try. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is just type a line. Wedge. So you notice when you type a line, you have two. So here the icons, when they have those black shapes around them, that means those are components to import geometry from Rhino, but I want Grasshopper to create for me. I'm going to choose this line. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect A to point A and B to point B. And voila, you have the line created here. If I click on this, the color change. If I click on point A, the color change. If I choose the whole thing, the colors change. Now, how can I transfer this information from Grasshopper to Rhino? I right click on it, and I see an option called Bake, and I press on it, and it opens this, meaning on which layer you want to put it. I'm gonna say on layer 3, just because, sorry, 2, just because of the color, because it's purple. I'm gonna say okay. Then I'm gonna press here, and this is my line in Grasshopper, in Rhino. You can see it's on layer 2. It's there. So this line has been created through an algorithm. And now what is nice about it, this line will change automatically. Of course, you need to bake it again in Rhino, but you can see that you can have as much variations as you want because of those inputs are changing. So when the inputs changing, you have the instructions, creating a line from 2 points, that's the instruction. Those are the inputs are changing, and the output is therefore changing, and that's what we call algorithmic modeling. So this is just a simple example for you. And then what you can do is, okay, let's say this is the one I need. You can go here again and say bake. And again, it will ask you which layer. I think we put it on layer 2. And then press here. There you go. You have your other line there. Okay. Okay, so now let's move to something else. Let's create a surface from a plane. Okay. Let me. Okay. Probably I'll stop this recording and then I'll do another one. Or I can, because I don't want them to be too long. I can do one more command here. So if we do surface from, okay, let's draw first. Okay, I want to delete these now. And then what I'm gonna do, so yeah, this is one thing I want to show you. If I select all these and I press in the middle button of the mouse, you can see this disable preview. I'm gonna say disable preview just because I don't want to be seeing it in Rhino now. I'm done with this part. Okay, and here I'm just scrolling with the middle button of my mouse in and out. Okay, so yeah, so I was saying let's create a curve and create a surface planner. So I'm gonna use the rectangle tool, and I'm gonna use the first corner of my rectangle will be 0, 0, 0, and then I'm gonna do add 10 by 10, I think. Yeah, that's a good size rectangle. And then I'm gonna go to the surface, gonna say planar curves. I'm gonna choose this one to enter, and voila, I have a surface. Okay, so if I wanna do that in Grasshopper, an algorithmic way, what do I do? Okay, and speaking about saving, so you save here, you can press here, you give it a name. And so for example, I have here, I just call it recording session 1, because I already have session 1, as you can see here. And I'm gonna save it. So you save the Rhino, you save the definition, the Grasshopper, okay? Okay, so if we wanna do that in Grasshopper, I'm just gonna hide this for now. Or I'm gonna delete it actually. I'm gonna delete this. And I'm gonna type curve here. Okay. And you can see, so the icons, the components have colors. So when it is orange, that's just giving you a warning that this might go red. If it goes to red, that means there's an error, and it's just giving you a clue to fix it. If it's a green, that means it's all good. It just means that it is successful and it is working. Okay. So it's like traffic light coding kind of. Anyway, so I draw this curve. Now I want to assign this, set one curve, and then I'm going to choose this curve. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look on the surface menu here. I wanna create a surface from this curve. So I'm just gonna look here, something similar to planar curves. So I found something called boundary surface. I'm gonna click it here. What kind of input it needs? Boundary curves, exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna connect, and now you can see I have the surface created for me. Now don't forget like to hover over it. So you can see now we have some values inside. It says here in the small box, one locally defined value. That means one curve selected. Reference polyline curve. So it's telling you what kind of curve has been used, which is a polyline. Okay. And then here, if you go to the surface, it says resulting. So this is the output, resulting boundary surface, one locally defined value, and trimmed surface. So it's very important to know, if you want to know this battery, what kind of information it has. This is the way to know. You hover just over it, and you will get the information you are looking for. So just be interactive. Don't be scared of using your mouse just to hover over things. Yeah. Okay. And the one thing I want you to notice that the curve is in green because this is selected in Grasshopper. If I click on the canvas, you can see the Rhino curve is apparent now, which is in black. If I choose this icon now, this is a green. So visually, you need to get used to that when something is selected from Grasshopper, it will appear green in Rhino source. And if it's not selected, it will appear in red. And yeah, so the curve is appearing in. So when you have an element or object in Rhino source, it will appear with so if this curve was on a layer that is blue or green, it will appear with the color of the layer. But for example, the surface here doesn't exist yet in Rhino. It only exists in Grasshopper. That's why it has those two colors. So I want you to know that as well. And to get the wires from here, it's really easy. You just need to click on this small circle and just kind of extend your mouse, move it, and it will kind of snap to where you need it. Okay, so let's try doing something a bit more different. So let's try to do, for example, just a very simple kind of floaty freeform curve. The most important thing is to have it plain. I'm gonna type curve. I'm gonna type, let me just put it here. So you can see how this is now giving you this kind of orangey feeling or color, not feeling, sorry, color, or this kind of, that means, and when you read up on it, empty curve parameter, okay? So it's empty, it's need to be set. We'll say set one curve. And here is the same. You can call it different thing, like you can call it, I don't know, curve 1, for example. You can see the name change here. Just if you wanna know which icon to which curve, you can give it your own name. And then here we're gonna type boundaries. Was it boundary surface? I forgot the name of it. Oh, boundary, not boundaries. Boundary surface. Also, when you put it, you first put it, it's green. You can see here it says empty curve parameter. So when we connect it, the surface is created. And you can see how, again, the colors is green. Okay. So yeah, just play a bit with that. And what is worth, so let me just take the Rhino curves and just hide them. Actually, no, Control Z. Let me actually, before I start anything else, let me show you what is interesting about this process rather than doing it in Rhino. Now, if I want to change this point, so maybe I changed it. Let me see this one here. So now when I change this point, the surface is changing. Okay, the surface is changing as well. And that is actually why we like Grasshopper, because it gives you that flexibility, okay? Okay, so here it should do the same. Yeah, so probably I snapped it. So the idea of this, why it gave me error, because probably I moved it in a planar way. So this component is just for planar surfaces and not for 3D kind of surfaces. So as long as I am on those changing on the X and Y, when I change on the Z, you can see how it's turning that way. So that's why we like Grasshopper, because it gives us this flexibility. Okay. But what if I want the curve, you know, to have flexibility in 3D? Okay. So let's see what we can do. Let me draw some curves. See that one? Yeah. Always check that you can check actually here. It's all plain. Okay. Good. Maybe I draw it here on the top view, which is better. Give me more control that it doesn't go the wrong direction. And then again, another curve. Another curve. Okay. So we have those 4 curves. So what do you do? What do we do here? We say curve again. Okay. And what do we do? We say set multiple curves. So we choose 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we do enter. And now we can actually give it a name. Curve 4. I'm just gonna put 4 next to it. And then I'm gonna choose from here boundary surface. And now it's empty. It's giving me a warning. Now I have my surface planar here. Okay. Now let's say I want, as I said before, I want to have like, I want to have some of those points in 3D. So let's choose some points here. This one, and just take it up. Immediately it's turned orange. It's giving me a warning. And what do you do in this case? So in this case, let's think about what we can do actually. I'm not very happy with the shape of it. Okay, I deleted 1 point. What we can do in Rhino, basically to create this surface, okay? So if we go back to the same command and we type surface planar curves, it will basically, it will not work, but let's try it together. So planar curves, enter. It says no faces were made, so it wasn't able. So which command we're gonna choose from here? Edge curves. Let's see this one. It created this surface for me. So we need to look for something similar, and so instead of this component, we don't need anymore because it doesn't work because one of the points are up. We need something that deals with that. So what did we say here? We said the command called edge curves. Let's look for something similar here, edge surface. Okay, that sounds more like it. So what we're gonna do here, actually, we need to put input. So I'm gonna delete this icon, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create 4 curves icon, and I'm gonna set each one of them. I'm gonna call this curve 1, and then I'm gonna say curve 2. And then I'm gonna say curve. I mean, you can type it and you can actually copy it. You can do that. So you can do Control C, Control V. It will give you the same name. You just need to change the name. I'm gonna do 4. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set up, make this longer. Okay, and now I'm gonna say set one curve. I'm gonna choose this curve. Set one curve 2, and then 3, and then the 4th one. Okay, and then I'm gonna hide this one so we see what's going on. And this one is selected. Okay, that's fine. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start. You can see it's starting to show up. So this is my curve. This is my surface, basically, my 3D surface. And now what is interesting is, let's say this point, I want to take it up from the curve. But what's actually happening, Grasshopper is editing the surface for me. And again, that's why we like Grasshopper. Easy peasy. You just change, you just work on the process of creating it, and then it becomes easy. Okay, so look how flexible is this. If you are designing something, you want to explore few geometries, that will give you endless design scenarios, basically. Okay, so you can play with this for a bit and see how you get on with it. Okay. So this is interesting tool, and that's why we do what we do. Now let's say we want to build something else. Gonna move all my guys here. Gonna move them here. Thank you. Now we're gonna create. We're gonna talk about loft, actually, lofting. Our favorite command. So let's draw rectangle again from one corner to another. gonna pick any corner really. Gonna do at 10 by 10. And I'm gonna zoom into that. I'm gonna put a line here just because it will show me. I want to rotate this. I want to copy it in space. So I'm gonna say copy. I'm gonna pick this point. I'm gonna go to another view, which is right. I'm gonna put ortho on. I'm gonna say 20. And then I'm clicking, saying 40, clicking. Okay. Escape. Escape the command and not this. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do, so I have 3 curves. If we go back to the perspective, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna choose this and I'm gonna rotate it. Okay. So I'm gonna do rotate. Just rotate, normal rotate from here till, let's say, 15 degrees. Okay. And then I'm gonna pick this one and say rotate here. I'm gonna say 25 degrees. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do loft. So all these are in Rhino. Okay. Gonna do loft. It's giving me the direction. Happy with it. Enter. I'm not gonna change anything for now. I'm gonna say fine. Happy with this. Now let's try and do that in Grasshopper. Okay. So creating 3 squares, rotating the top ones, moving them up in a certain distance. I chose 2020, you can do 1010, whatever. So you can have a shorter tower. And then lofting the curves or the rectangles. And this is what we got. Okay, so now I'm gonna basically hide that. I'm gonna start with a new definition. I'm gonna type curve. Okay. And then I'm gonna say set multiple curves. Okay. And I'm gonna say loft. When I say I'm gonna say, I mean I'm gonna type. Okay, so type loft. We'll have this. See, it's very easy. Grasshopper, it gives you so many instructions. So here it says section curve. So that means it needs to be connected to a curve. Empty curve parameter. We can connect it with a curve and look what do we have now. It created it. But what is O? O loft option. One locally defined value. Okay, so we can actually create options out of that. And here, if we put the mouse on the L, resulting loft surfaces. So the result is basically a surface. So let's say here, what I'm gonna do is using this one, can I just rotate it more? So let's say I don't wanna keep rotating it manually. So another 25. I don't want to rotate it manually. I want to have those rotation parameters also algorithmic. So that means I have more variables. I can have different rotation angles. So what do you do in this case? What do I do? First, I'm going to delete this one. Okay, so the left is orange. It's warning. I'm going to type curve. Oh, not on Rhino. In Grasshopper, I'm going to type curve. I'm going to give each curve a I'm going to assign each rectangle to a curve icon. I'm going to do Control C, Control V, Control V. Then I'm going to move them. And then I'm going to assign them. Let's do this. Curve set one curve. So those diameters that I'm using is just to help me see the rotation really. Okay. And then I'm going to say set curve. Okay. And then when you connect them, I mean, you can connect them at the same time if you want. And you'll have the same result, okay? So if you do shift while you are connecting, you can connect to three icons, three components, but you need to use shift when you take the wire from the C input, okay? So as I said, if I want to rotate this, but I don't want to rotate it manually each time, and also I want to experiment with having different angles, maybe scenarios that I didn't think about in my design. So I want to have that flexibility. And maybe this rectangle will be just a curve, okay? It could be a circle, could be something more floaty, more freeform, okay? So what can we do in this case? This is something, I mean, you can also try with different kind of curves. So let me take one of those curves, for example, this one. Oh, I forgot I have ortho on. Okay. So copy, I'm just gonna do a copy really from here till here. Then I'm gonna deal with it here. Okay. Let's save my top curve. I'm gonna change my top curve and I'm gonna say set one curve. I want this instead. So see, this has changed. But I want to go back to my rectangle. But you can do that as well if you want, okay? So this is just for you basically to know. And if we look here from the top, so we have this kind of, let me hide this. So we have this kind of rotation. Okay, and I want to have, as I said, so I experimented with rotating it 15 degrees and then experimented with rotating it. So let's create one next to it, okay? So let's start here. I'm gonna say the same things, 10 by 10, okay? And okay, let's do another definition. So you can see the difference between the two. Two definition is better. So I'm gonna do curve. And I'm gonna set it as one curve. Using this. The line here. And what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna look for operation called rotate, because that's the whole point. I wanna rotate this shape. Rotate an object in a plane. Yeah, that's what I need. So I need geometry, which is my curve. And then I need the angle. So I'm gonna type 15, for example. And I'm gonna connect it to the angle. And it says angle automatically, okay? You can see how the slider change. And then let's hover over this one local defined value, x and y, which is basically the area that we need. So we need to show what area are we covering. So I'm covering the area of this curve, right? So, and what this will give me is the center, because the rotation needs to have a reference point. So when I rotate it, I chose the corner of the object, but you can choose the center. So in this case, I'm gonna do this here, and then I'm gonna, so I have the geometry basically is connected to the curve. You can see the center point actually already is defined, and then this one will be here, and here the angle also. So basically what I've done is, so when we did rotation, you can see all my rotations here, and this instant here is from this corner, but we can also have a rotation from a center. So this is why I added this operation called area. So it needs, the input is the geometry, which is the curve, and then the output would be the center of it. So it's highlighted in green, as you can see. Okay, now it's in red. And now if I go to this slider here and I change it, you can see I have so many angles. It's only until 100. So let me double click here. Actually, not double click. Let me right click on it. It needs to have edit. You can see the edit. We can change, double click here. We can change it to 360. And then we can say yes. Okay. So now I can change it to any angle I want up till 360. Okay. And if you want to set a number, because sometimes the slider, you do actually double click in it. Let's say I want to put 45. And then you say enter. Okay, so you can do that. Okay, and now we need to do this 3 times basically. So now we sorted out this. Now I need to copy this, and I need to just set it up another 2 times. So I'm gonna say copy, and then I'm gonna be actually here. I'm gonna use the same values I used before. So 20, enter, and then another 20, enter. Oh, no, not another 20, sorry. Another 40, enter, and then enter. So let's see here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy this definition. So Control C, Control V, and then I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna do Control V again, and I'm gonna move it. So, what did I do here? This, the lower one is the lower curve. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this as it is. I'm gonna change assignment to this icon. So this one is the curve. The middle one will be for the second one on my screen. So I'm organized the same way. Oh, wait, before I do that, I do need to delete this one. I did duplication here while I was copying. So I need to have only one curve. Okay, so set one curve. Already have that. Can change here to, let's say, 30 degrees. Sorry about that noise. And then I'm gonna say set one curve. I'm gonna choose this one. I have duplication again. Okay, I don't like it when I have duplications, because then I'm not sure which one I used. Okay, see that what happens. set one curve, and then you can change this. Okay. So this is basically our definition of the loft. And yeah, and now we're gonna do lofting those basically 3 of them. So yeah, I'm just looking at the definition. There's something missing. What did I miss? Okay, before going ahead, I went ahead of myself. So before we do that, now there's something about those degrees that just to make it more accurate, there is a command actually called degree. So if you type it, it will just make the information, the input and the output. Yeah, you can see the difference. So you can see here. Let's focus on this one. See the difference when we add this one. This command degree. I should have done it before I copy them, so don't do the same as me. Look at the, yeah, now it looks like 30 degrees. So we need this from the slider to this input to go directly. It will not be accurate as when you put the degree commands. So this one designed by Grasshopper. If we want to add degrees, so always remember that. My bad, we didn't do that before. Okay, so you can see how they're floating better now. And now we can add, and now after we copy the 3 of them and we have the degrees 360 as we said, now it will be time for the moment of truth. Let's put them at 0, all of them, before we start. And then let's put, so they need a bit of organizing. Let's put the loft. So the degree component was added because they looked a bit off for me. Now, when you wanna connect here the curve with the geometry, remember to press on Shift while clicking. Okay, I can see how it's building up nicely. Okay, and now what we need to do is to really have fun with those degrees and have different kind of really different kind of surfaces. So let's say I'll put this one 25 as it used before. Sorry for this. Let me see if I can mute. No, I don't want to mute it because I'm talking. 15. Okay, so let's say I like this one. What I can do is I can go here and I can press on the bake, and then I can put it in a certain layer, say 2. So I'm gonna move it here so we can see it. So this is one option. So here, what is it? What is this giving us is the options. Okay. Let's say this is 1090. And then we go back here and we say bake. Again, let's put it on the same layer. So now you have multiple options. While with this with this definition that we had here, this one, see how simple is this? It has 3 curves, it has loft, you have this, you need to change and rotate those rectangles here manually on the Rhino. While here in this definition, it's a bit more complicated, but what you did is you modeled it algorithmically, meaning you don't need to do any change on your actual curves, but what you can do is change the rotation angle, and you put and you have a full range from 0 to 360 degrees, and you can have ultimate endless options of possibilities, basically. While here you can have also so the first definition you can have, but you have to change manually. Here you don't need to really model. You just need to change some values and then bake, and then you have your surface ready. So this is the introduction for Grasshopper. I did take some snapshots, try to explain a few things, and I did put it in a PDF. But I hope this tutorial also visually kind of help you. So those are the commands that we covered. So mainly introduction to Grasshopper, doing a line from 2 points and how to create those 2 points on Grasshopper, and then creating a surface from a curve, and then lofting few curves to create a surface, and then choosing or creating algorithmic curves by using different rotation angles. So yeah, practice till next class. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing now. I'm going to stop recording. See you in the next session.